Hi guys, how you doing? Just a little extra I thought I'd put in. I wrote a post over the weekend, and it seems that Facebook are up to their tricks again. Um, I, I found it very difficult to post it about. So I'm going to read it out for here, and then you can post the video. This is called The Great Reset. It was written on the 28th of May, 2023. I'll put in. This is something I've been talking about for a while. It makes a positive case for independence and deals with the untenable status quo created by alternating Labour and Tory administrations in Westminster. So, sitting comfortably, coffee poured, then I'll begin. The Great Reset will occur a couple of years after we vote for independence. It doesn't really matter how we do it, so long as we do it. Regardless of the method, though, those in Westminster will declare it an illegal act, no matter what, because they can't afford to lose Scotland's input to the Union or the UK. That is, Scotland is a cash cow. We know that, and it's being used as a cash cow to keep England afloat. We'll need recognition by other countries to seal the final act and force Westminster politicians to come to the negotiating table. If they still refuse, then we'll use the Helsinki Accord, which we brought in to force a negotiated settlement. It will take time, however, but as soon as Scotland is recognised by the international community as a sovereign country, there's no going backwards. At that point, it's a done deal. At that point, the Scottish Government effectively takes charge and orders all taxes to be paid to the Scottish Exchequer immediately. Of course, there would be those that would protest within the business community, but then legislation would quickly deal with that. They would put up nonsense remarks to the mainstream media until eventually the Scottish Government brought out legislation that said you'll do it or we'll close you. So what is that? To save time, a request to join the European Free Trade Association would quickly be set up. That would allow us to trade with the EU in the short term, whilst giving us time to rejoin the EU itself. The ports around Scotland would be quickly opened up to allow the transport of cargo and from European ports, and on the west coast from the Americas and further afield. The effect on Scotland and our people would be profound. The next stage would be large infrastructure projects launched, including securing our country's borders. To any of you that think that we could keep the border with England completely open are living in cloud cuckoo land. That's a fact. Our border must be controlled, especially if we're going to rejoin the EU. Also, there would be a huge influx of people from England to Scotland. We do want people from England to settle in Scotland, definitely. But to have it happen in an uncontrolled way would be harmful. A controlled border prevents overstretching of resources that we haven't had time to grow yet. Our armed forces, Scottish personnel presently in the UK armed forces, would be invited to join the Scottish Defence Force. If no negotiation with the UK had taken place, giving us control of armaments, our fair share of armaments, then we would look to our allies, of which there are many, to provide for a temporary shortfall. We'd be doing the Zelensky job, going around the various countries and saying, look, can we have some of your tanks and have some of your whatever, right? Okay. Things like that would be difficult. Of course they would, but certainly not impossible. To begin with, the Scottish tax code, pensions and benefits would remain as they were under Westminster, but now completely controlled by our independent Scottish Government. They would improve as our finances improved. And how that would happen is through tax being capital gains tax and corporation tax by the big companies being paid to the Scottish Exchequer. Next, the formation of a Scottish central bank would allow for the proper regulation of interest rates and real control of inflation. A Scottish currency would follow directly after this move. Due to our fantastic exports, our currency would become too hard, and the central bank would also be tasked with putting in place a system of programmed devaluations to ensure that the hardness of our currency didn't damage our export muscle. Therefore, if in New York today a bottle of Scotch whisky costs you, for example, $30, they would have to devalue to make it that tomorrow that same bottle would cost the same amount in New York. That's the simple basis of it. If your currency gets too hard through fantastic exports, then what happens is that the cost of that bottle of whiskey would go $40, $50, $60 in New York in no time at all. Programmed devaluation does work, and it does protect a currency and a country's exports. Scotland's natural resources would be taken under the control of our independent government. All licenses would have to be renegotiated, and the companies and corporations that presently run the energy resources would be ordered to provide Scotland's needs in the first place, whilst paying all taxes to the Scottish Exchequer. They'd be told in no uncertain terms, you fill Scotland's bucket first, then you can sell to the rest of the world. That would be the terms of the negotiation. It would also set up a price point for all those energy sources. Those companies require Scottish natural resources, and our negotiators would be instructed to be very strict in their handling of the energy companies. The effect shortly after this would see a reduction in fuel costs. Transport, domestic and commercial industrial energy costs would reduce to the point where everyone within Scotland's borders would feel a change of gear and an upwelling of opportunities. The Great Reset would have started, and Scotland will have begun the journey to become the small, rich European country that has the well-being of its citizens at the forefront of government policy that we've been waiting for. This is the discussion that the people of Scotland will have on the run-up to independence, rather than the sorry examples of the unionists asking silly questions about what currency will they use. Forget it, guys. This is where the discussion goes. All right. Thank you all for listening. I do apologise. I was paying more attention to the text than I was your various comments. We'll be back on this afternoon with the two Davies. That's just in what we're talking an hour and a half's time. So would we need a central bank ready to go on day one? No, it'll happen. All right. Or will we stop with using the pound? We will use the pound for a short term. That's from Alex 652011. Right. Okay. The article above raised a few questions like 1. What percentage of our assets are we getting then? We'll find that out after we become independent. I think you know that. What percentage are we getting now? Well, we don't know. With independence, we get 100% of all Scottish assets. Yes, certainly we do, Tam. You know that's the case. Low cost, Peter Duguid says, low cost energy costs would surely attract businesses to set up in Scotland. Well, I certainly hope they would, because they are now. Even the situation we're in, we're still getting businesses from abroad setting up in Scotland. Why is that? It's very simple, because they see the future of Scotland as being independent. Right, I'm going to sign off, guys. Thank you for joining me. This is now a format that you can share online, because the post that I put up, honestly, it's gone like that, and that's not due to the fact I've written something that's wrong. I've written something that's fairly straightforward. It talks of the future of independence, of becoming an independent country, and what will happen. So therefore, there shouldn't be too many people detracting from it. So if you can, just go ahead and share directly from YouTube. Okay. Cheers, guys. See you, as I say, about an hour and 20 minutes. All right, I'll go and get my makeup on. Right, see you later. Bye.